Hello and welcome to Godly Geeks Studios. I am Ryan the Maniac.
I'm AB Doodles.
And welcome to a lovely new episode of
TV Reviews!
No, movie reviews.
No, TV reviews.
Movie reviews.
TV reviews.
Well, I mean, technically it is both.
Yeah.
Because today, we will be taking a look at Star Wars The
Clone Wars. And so he watched Clone Wars first, and he was like, you have to watch it. Oh my gosh. And I was like, but I don't want to watch it by myself.
So, over the course of the period when she was staying with me, we spent those several months binge watching a bunch of Clone Wars. She watched 7 seasons worth in the course of 2 months.
Yeah, and the movie.
And the movie, yes.
So,
the movie is also important to watching Clone Wars.
Yes, and you don't have to go into chronological order.
You don't have to, but it
it's highly
helps.
Suggested.
It definitely helps.
Because, yeah.
Because the first couple seasons, episodes are way out of order.
And I remember trying to watch it by myself, and I just got utterly confused because I was like, that person was dead in this episode, but then in the next episode he was alive, and I was like, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll link the list to like the chronological episodes of where you can go. Like it's really easy to Google it, but like there's a little link that we can link on the bottom, so you can just click it, and there's all the episodes in order.
Yes.
Because you're technically supposed to start with I think there's 2 episodes and then the movie.
There's an episode in season 2, an episode in season 1, and then you watch the movie. And then there's a lot of jumping from there.
A little jumping. But then once you get to about season 6...
Season 3, more I'd say.
More like season 3. There is a couple of jumping areas in season 5, but I mean it's only, I think, you're just skipping the first episode and then going back to it later. But once you get to season 3, you really kind of stop skipping, and it's just kind of all the way through. And it's nice.
So the basic general summary of Clone Wars is that it's basically the Clone Wars, the war that took place between Star Wars episodes 2 and 3. That whole time period that you didn't really get a whole lot of, mostly just because in the course of movies there's only so much you can tell, but this is a series that takes place between those, so you get to see a lot more of the events going on. Mostly has a lot to do with understanding the clones better, getting to know more about the Jedi, meeting Anakin's Padawan, Ahsoka Tano. You learn a lot more about the Mandalorians, you learn a lot more about Palpatine taking control of everything, and just how it gives you a different point of view of Order 66 when it finally turns down. So.
One thing I really like about Clone Wars was, before watching Clone Wars, I was like a hardcore, like, Jedi is the best thing ever. And like, even though after I watched the prequels and I saw some of the aspects where I was like, maybe the Jedi wasn't like super correct, I was still like, but no, the Jedi is the right thing. Like, they are everything, okay? After watching Clone Wars, I can understand, like, Anakin's, like, struggle, and Qui-Gon, because you learn more about Qui-Gon, and the struggle between, is the Jedi right? Obviously, the dark side's not right, but you could also see why they think it would be right.
Yeah, it's not so much
I'm more of a gray now, and I know a lot of people are like, gray Jedi's like a thing. Well,
it's not so much
really
just
gray. It's like I see like nothing's ever just good or just evil. There is an in between, and
it shows more of a difference between Jedi and the Jedi Order, because the Jedi Order is the one that's incredibly flawed, and that they're very similar to bring this back biblical, like the Pharisees.
Yeah.
In the Bible,
they brought in all these rules and these laws so you could make sure you were the best that you could be, but it just created more conflict within. One thing that even watching it, I was like, I don't understand. If they're supposed to be peacekeepers, and this is one thing that Anakin brings up all throughout the series, and so does Ahsoka. If we're supposed to be peacekeepers, then why are we generals in war?
Yes.
Like, why are we doing, these things? And like, a lot of people are like, well, we need to protect the Empire. But like, that's not what you're supposed to stand for. You're not supposed to stand for one side. You're supposed to stand for peace and justice for everyone, and you're not doing that.
Yes, because another fact of the series is that it shows that not all the Separatists are like straight up evil, like Count Dooku and Nute Gunray and all that. It shows there are Separatists that are like, they want legitimate change. They don't agree with what the Republic is doing and how they realize things. So it shows you not everything is quite as black and white as the movies made it out to be. Well, one side's definitely evil, and one side's definitely good. There's a lot more gray in there.
Yeah,
a lot of people realize, and that's what the show helps explain.
And another thing that the show does that I absolutely love is it dives more into what the Force is and how the Force works, and also like the inner workings of the Padawans. You know, how they get their lightsabers. How does that work? And like, just so many great episodes where like you didn't get any of that in the movies really, because you can only do so much in movies. Whereas in the TV show, they were like, well, let's kind of dive into this and let's show them this aspect, and I love it.
Yeah, and it just took a lot of its time fixing a lot of the issues of a lot of the films, like the fact that Anakin was mostly just a whiny kind of brat, a lot of people thought, or just the Jedi were extremely boring. You didn't really get a lot of personality out of them except for Obi-Wan and Anakin. It gives a lot more people time for spotlight. Like, for instance, one of the major factors that Darth Maul, who was originally killed in Episode 1...
Spoiler!
Maul comes back. It's revealed that he somehow survived being cut in half and has been in exile on a junk planet, being driven completely mad by his utter and complete anger and hatred of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so his brother Savage Opress finds him, brings him back to the Night Sisters, who there's witches of the Force. That's another aspect of the Force it explains. And brings him back, and he gets robotic legs, and it shows how he tries to now bring up this whole new criminal empire, and also is still trying to enact revenge against Obi-Wan.
So you know, like in Solo, Maul was in Solo at the very end. This kind of explains how he got to where he is in Solo.
Pretty much.
And there's just, I thought that I was a fan of Star Wars before, and then I watched Clone Wars, and I realized that I love Star Wars so much more.
Yes.
My favorite character, hands down, is Ahsoka.
Ahsoka Tano is by far the best character of the series.
Okay.
This is her show through and through.
So first off,
I'd say she's the main character, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because it follows, it's one of the best versions of a character. Which it started out, everyone hated her. She was a whiny brat,
so whiny,
annoying, making snippy remarks at every little thing.
But then she grew. Like, you watched her mature and grow as the episodes and season went on.
Not only as a Jedi, but also just like as a person in general, as a general, a commander. And so that by the end,
so much.
When everything goes down, she's a drastically different character over here than she was when she started way back at the beginning. Which is like, I'm a Jedi, I outrank you, Rex. And by the end, she sees that they're kind of equal. They both need each other.
Yeah. It's just a great TV show all the way around. If you want to know, another thing too was like, I already loved Anakin, and I saw how much he was struggling in the movies, but with the show, it put like a whole nother like, sad, tragic feeling to Anakin's story.
Yeah. It showed you much more of a decline, slow decline of Anakin.
It's so... And you also get more of an Obi-Wan and Anakin relationship. You know how in Episode 3, where Obi-Wan's like, you were my brother, we really didn't see much of that relationship building.
We saw a little of it, but not a whole lot.
But you get so much more in Clone Wars, and you really see how that really messed up Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
And then also you get Anakin and
Padme.
Why did I want to say Padawan? It's not correct, guys. Padme's relationship and how it grew throughout the Clone Wars. And yeah, the Padme in the Clone Wars and the Padme in the movie are different, but that's neither here nor there. The relationship between them, you got to it doesn't feel as forced as it did in the movies at sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, you really saw
the dialogue between them was a lot more natural, as opposed to, I love you so much. I'm blinded by love. Just horror dialogue.
So it just makes the characters, like, you really, really get to like see them develop.
Yes.
Which I love. And another great thing is the clones. Like
the clone.
The clones! I know you're like, well, it's called Clone Wars. Obviously, you're going to know about clones.
It's such a major fact. In fact, like, honestly, watching the movies, they're just guys. They're just there.
Yeah.
This show takes that and says, hey, let's make you feel bad for every single clone. Because they were all unique and had their own personality and their own traits and quirks about them. And so that when the order happens, you know, oh gosh, I relate to all these clones. I now know what's going on.
And the reality is, when Order 66 happens in the show, the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars also legitimately happen when Revenge of the Sith is happening.
Yes.
So
they're
coinciding. And knowing that and seeing what's happening, like, I cried a lot.
Yes.
You can ask him. I cried a lot. And then
there were several
when
points
we
in
rewatched
those last 2 seasons where we had to pause just for her to cry.
Yeah. And it took me a little bit before, because I finished the series probably about a month ago, and it's taken me this long to like really process everything that happened because I was so emotionally involved with the TV show and the characters, and I knew what was going to happen at the end, and I knew what was coming, but I still wasn't prepared. And I just needed to like comprehend it all. But like when we watched Revenge of the Sith afterwards too, because we watched that right after we finished Clone Wars. Oh my gosh!
It changes the
It changes everything. You know, there's a guy. It was called. There's multiple people, but the one that I watched was by superhero theorist. Why can I not say that word correctly? I'm just gonna move past it. He interspliced the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars with Revenge of the Sith. So like, Revenge of the Sith becomes like a 4-hour movie because like it's interspliced with what's happening in the last 4 episodes. And I watched that before I watched Clone Wars, and I was affected, and I was like, wow, that's really, really good. And now, after watching the whole series, I can say that'll mess you up, like super bad. But I can't suggest Clone Wars enough. Now, I will have to say this: if you have younger ones and you want to watch that, be prepared. Even though it's a cartoon show, it gets very dark. It gets very dark. So we're gonna put this out there. It's supposed to be a kids show, but at the same time,
it's much more for older kids than it is for younger kids.
Yeah, remember that if you want to show your first or second grader.
And also on top of that, it's just like going into it, it's gonna seem like every other cartoon where it's an adventure of the week kind of thing. Give it some time. After like the first, maybe at most second season, is when it starts going from being a kids show to being Star Wars. And it gets much better. It gets really good. There were times where I was like, this was supposed to be a kids show? But that was the running thing. Like anytime something dark happened, we would just go, kids show! Yep. Because there was a lot. Especially when Maul shows up. Yeah. That whole Maul and the Night Sisters, that's very dark. And so that's why I just say, like, yeah, anyone can watch it, but just like know that going into it, it's not a kiddie kid show. So if you have younger kids or cousins, siblings, whatever, that want to watch it, but if they're below 5th grade, I just kind of err on the caution side, just because it really depends on how the kid responds to dark stuff like that. If they've watched Avengers and that doesn't affect them, they'll be fine. Yes. Or if they watch just the prequels in general. Or if they just watch the prequels. But like, if your kid had nightmares after watching a couple of episodes of Star Wars, this might not be for them. It's probably something for when they are a little older and can handle it. Yeah. Or if they still have like nightmares or whatever, and that's something that they're struggling with, don't watch this show with them. I even suggest maybe if you have kids younger and you're a parent or whatever, I'd watch this show first and judge for yourself to see if your kid can handle it. Because, like I said, anyone can watch it because it's not crazy, but at the same time, I can see how some kids would be scared by it. It's not like you're going to see somebody with blood spurting out of his arm. Somebody did get decapitated multiple times. Multiple people got decapitated, but you didn't see it happen on screen. It wasn't on screen, but you know what happened. It's very heavily implied. One person got cut in half. Like, you knew that that's what happened.
A lot of people died. A lot of death.
Lots.
So that's what we just want to let you know is like, yes, it's a great show, but if you want to show this to kids under 5th grade, just be prepared. You need to know what's all in it. You probably already do, or maybe you do your own research, but just know that those are our thoughts. I wouldn't show my kids under 3rd grade at all, and I'd still be cautious as they got older, because I just want to make sure that they can handle it.
Yeah.
Because every kid's different. I mean, when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have had a problem with it because I watched scary movies when I was 10. Except clowns. I don't do clowns.
She does not do clowns.
But that was just me. My sister, on the other hand, she wouldn't have been able to handle it at all.
Yes.
Nope. But that was just her. So, review it, figure it out, and then maybe start it as a family if you see fit. Or just start it by yourself, because the new series, Bad Batch, just came out. That ties in with Clone Wars, which we are behind in, so we haven't watched yet.
When it's done, we'll probably do a review on it as well.
I'm in the middle of watching Rebels.
Yeah, she started Rebels.
Which just happens after.
Which takes place roughly 5 years before the events of Episode 4.
So that's that. And then, obviously, Mandalorian, you'll meet some of the people from the Mandalorian TV show that are in Clone Wars.
If you watch the show, you're going to get a lot of context behind a lot of stuff that goes on.
And then, obviously, the new Obi-Wan series that's coming out soon.
Highly recommend watching that, because I theorize that there's probably going to be some elements from Clone Wars that they kick for that show.
Happen.
Not for sure, but I want to say it's very possible given the people right behind it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was just our thoughts.
We just want to give a general summary over it, because, like we said, we could go on about this all day long, because it's 7 seasons worth. We just wanted to talk about some of the highlights of the show.
And the things that we really loved about the show. And why we think that every Star Wars fan should watch it. I'm about to try to get my dad into watching it. He's agreed to start it with me up till... so that way we're going to try to watch it before I get married and move off.
Yes.
And so, because I told him, I said there's no chronological order that you need to watch it. And I did fair warn him that it does start off like kind of kiddish, but then it gets better. Like the movie... So kiddish.
The movie, aside from a handful of scenes, is not very good.
I would never watch it again unless I had to.
Yeah.
Which I'm having to because I'm watching it with my dad. But that's beside the point. But you have to watch it because that introduces Ahsoka.
Yes.
So it's important to the series.
It is.
Just wish it wasn't that.
Just know there's a lot of rough parts in the series. Like there's the whole R2 mission squad.
I didn't hate
deal.
I didn't hate. I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it.
And there's a lot of parts that drag on. Just get through them. If you can get through them.
Be prepared. Jar Jar is in the series.
Jar Jar is in the series. Only a handful of episodes.
By handful, I think there's like 10 episodes.
Not a lot, given the fact there's like over 100 episodes.
Yeah.
So,
but
you'll get him every now and then.
He's really not that annoying.
He's not near as annoying as in the movie.
He's Jar Jar.
He's still Jar Jar, but he's not like in your face annoying.
Yeah. And actually, there is one episode where I was like, I kind of like Jar Jar in this episode. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what episode that is. I'll probably, when I watch it with my dad, I'll go, this is the episode that I don't mind Jar Jar being in.
Yeah.
Because he does play useful parts, and you can see that throughout the series. So,
I'll just say this going in. Watching episode 9, it's honestly my least favorite Star Wars movie. You know this. It's just, go after that, I was just like, what has happened to Star Wars? I thought I was a fan, and I just died off. And then people told me to try Clone Wars. It's great. And I was like, I'll try it. Honestly, that kickstarted my love of Star Wars, and now I'm a bigger fan of Star Wars than I ever was.
Facts. It got kind of scary for a little bit.
Like, honestly, Star Wars is now, like, one of my favorite realms of all time.
Which is pretty cool.
After watching that, because it gave me such background on it.
I just love that I had all this Star Wars stuff beforehand, and I was like the big Star Wars geek, and I was the one freaking out about 7, 8, 9. I do have to say though, after watching Clone Wars, I do have to say that 9's not that great. Even 7 and 8 really aren't. Like the movies themselves, they have great aspects.
They're fine.
You'll go back and watch our things, but like I can see how it doesn't fit in the Star Wars aspect of like the storylines. But that's a whole nother video.
That's your own preference, really. If you enjoy the sequels, that's up to you.
So, everyone has their own opinion.
Yes.
And we respect that.
Yes.
But anyway, that's just our
That's
thoughts.
just all we wanted to say, is just give a couple highlights of the things of the show. We won't spoil everything just because that gives no incentive for you to go watch it for yourselves. There's a lot of great characters and great moments, and just a lot better build up to the events of Order 66 and everything that changes everything towards the original trilogy than it would have been, as opposed to just watching movies. It gave me a much bigger appreciation for prequels, and as a whole. Yes.
Anyway, we hope you guys have a fantastical one.
If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like down below.
Hit subscribe. Also, new information, we're going to be streaming over in Twitch now.
Yes.
Instead of here on YouTube, just because it just gives us a bigger, wider range.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of...
And plus the copyright stuff over there on Twitch isn't quite as bad over on YouTube.
So, we're still going to have our clips and stuff from Twitch, because we're trying to figure out how to save clips from our streams so we can upload them here.
Yes.
So that'll be there. Also, we do have a Facebook page now. It's called
Go check that out.
Godly Geeks Studios, obviously. So we will be uploading just different videos, just kind of keeping you guys up to date on what we're doing. If we don't get any videos out, we'll let you guys know that we're still alive.
Yes.
But also, that'll be where we can kind of create events, so we can kind of let you know in advance when we're going to stream.
When we're streaming or have other things going on for the channel, that kind of stuff.
If you haven't watched our update video, go watch that, because
that will explain where we've been.
But also kind of explaining, we don't have a lot of timeline for stuff that we're putting out because of our wedding, because we're planning a wedding and we're getting married in November. So that's taking most of our priority right now, as it should.
Yes.
So some of the ideas that we have we want to do, and we're going to do. It just may not happen in a time period. So that's why we're just streaming more right now, because that just gives us more flexibility. That way we don't have to edit stuff and put stuff together. We can just say, hey, we're going to stream tonight because we're going to hang out tonight anyway, so let's just stream together.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
Yes.
So have a fantastical night or fantastical day or sleep or whatever you're watching this. We just hope it's a fantastical one, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Bye.
May the force be with you.
I smell profit.